Cooking.
Fuck, what are we making? Okay, we're gonna make a vegetarian ramen. The goal is to like make it kind of rich and good like normal ramen, but vegetarian. So we're gonna make the broth. I bought some fresh noodles that we're gonna use, and then we're gonna do a couple garnishes, traditional garnishes. So I got some oil heating up in a pot, and I'm gonna char half an onion, and I'm gonna char some ginger. So what I mean by char is I'm just gonna put it in the oil, and I'm just gonna let it sit. I'm not gonna mess with it. You're essentially burning one side. Yeah, that I'm gonna flip it and do that on all sides. And then since it's almost done now, I'm gonna start adding some seasonings. I'm just gonna add actually I'll add 2 star anise. And then I have some dried shiitake mushrooms. You can get big bags of these at Asian grocery stores. The dried ones yield a lot more flavor in a broth. And then we're gonna use some fresh ones for the garnish. So I'm gonna toast those. And I'm also gonna get some miso in now. And I'm gonna go in with 1 liter of stock, vegetable stock. If you buy vegetable stock like I did, just get the low sodium stuff so that you can season it yourself, kind of. So we're putting in 1 liter, but because all the stuff that we put in here is gonna make a stock as well, I want to add some more water. So I'm gonna add 1 liter of stock, 1 liter of water. And like pay attention when you put this water in where the level is, because we want to add all this water, simmer it, but reduce it back down to this level. So we're going to put this water in to season it while we simmer this, but it's going to end up that exact same amount. So we should have 1 liter of broth when we're done. Our fresh onion, our fresh ginger, and that's it. Simmer that. I'm going to put it on max and then turn it down to simmer. Maybe it'll go for like 45 minutes-ish, something like that. So this is just butternut squash. Cut it in half. Scoop out the seeds with a spoon, and I just roasted it with thyme and butter. That probably took like 2 hours at 300. I like to do it like really, butternut squash is super sweet, so there's a tendency to burn really quick, so I do it low temperature, 300. Yeah, about 2 hours till you start getting like some caramelization and it's cooked through. It's really soft. We're gonna puree it into the broth. Okay, so this is a little garnish mushroom I made. These are shiitakes. I just added some more to these, so they will all turn this color. But I just shaved some shiitakes really, really thin. And then you want equal parts vinegar and sugar. Heat that up, pour it over the mushrooms. Once it cools, add half the amount of the vinegar and the sugar of soy sauce. And then you got some nice marinated shiitakes. We'll use those to garnish our soup. Soy marinated egg. Soy mirin marinated egg. This is pretty traditional. So I got a soft boiled egg that I cooked in boiling water for 6.5 minutes. That's kind of the best time in my opinion. Put a timer on your phone, 6.5 minutes, and you'll have a nice gooey yolk. Give it a rinse, make sure there's no shells. You're gonna marinate them in soy. So mostly soy, however much you need to cover the egg. And honestly, I don't have any Ziploc bags right now, but Ziploc bags work really good for this because you won't have to use as much liquid and it'll cover the egg really, really good. But yeah, this is like 3 parts soy to 1 part mirin. So it'll end up looking like this. You'll have this nice soy marinated egg. It's got good flavor and oh fuck, this is fucking hot. Okay, so just take the squash out with a spoon. Maybe wait till
it's steaming.
Maybe wait till it gets a little bit colder than this, but yeah. Scoop it out. Get as close to the skin as you can. You don't want any waste here. Roasted squash for 2 hours. We're not trying to waste anything. Bro, look Look how good that looks. What's up? This is water. We're boiling it. Tastes good, man. Broth. We simmered it for about 45 minutes. And it's like kind of thick, not too thick. Still pretty watery, but that's okay because this is gonna make it really thick and creamy. Make sure it. Be careful that you don't fucking waste any shit. If you want to sponsor me and deck out my kitchen and you're rich, please do. I'll cook you a million meals. So also you could, like the stock we made, you could just use veg stock and you don't have to season it with shiitake and all that stuff. If you wanted to use this as like a really nice pasta sauce, or if you just wanted to use it as a soup, there's like a lot of ways you can use this, but we're gonna season it this way so that we can hopefully make a really rich broth. I'm gonna add just a touch of sesame oil. Trying to really give it that. Really trying to give it the Japanese seasoning so that it tastes ramen-y. Fuck, that's so good. Jeez. Okay. Have all this broth. I think a lot of people would think like, why don't I just put the broth in the pot and then like cook the noodles in the broth? And because you have to cook noodles in like a rolling boil. And so if I cook noodles in a rolling boil and I put that directly into the plate, that is way too hot to eat, and then the noodles are just sitting in there, so they're actually overcooking. So that's why we cook it separately. We're gonna cook the noodles, drain them. We're not gonna cool them down, but even them just being out of boiling liquid will keep them from overcooking. And this is hot, but it's like, I can eat that right now, no problem, with a spoon and be totally fine. So it's not gonna overcook our noodles. We don't want overcooked noodles, we want nice, perfect ramen. And fresh noodles are super easy to find. Like almost all Asian grocery stores will have these. When you're like at the store being like, what noodles, look at the labels and read ones that specifically say ramen. They'll have ones that look similar to this, or sometimes they have ones that are curlier, but just make sure that it says ramen noodles because there's a special type of flour in there that makes it bouncy. So you need to make sure that you're actually getting ramen noodles and not udon or chow mein or stuff like that. Or just ask an employee. Okay, so I have the world's longest chopsticks, and I'm just gonna use those to move them around. I think different brands of fresh noodles have different cook times. This one says about a minute or a minute and a half, so we'll go about that. Ideally too, like I didn't do this, but leave your noodles out for like a little bit, like while you're prepping, while you're getting food ready. Like as long as possible, try and bring them up to room temperature because mine are fridge cold, and when you put something fridge cold into boiling water, now the rolling boil is gone, and that was a little bit of a mistake on my part, but it'll be okay. So we're just gonna strain these. Shake off all that extra water because we don't want anyone watering down our broth. And we'll go in with our hot broth. Mix that around our lightly soy pickled shiitakes. Put some of our herbs. 6.5 minutes. Look at that yolk. A little bit of black sesame I'm going to put on here. Looks really nice on the egg. I'm going to use a little bit of this soy pickling liquid. And then I'm also going to take you over here to my chili oil stash. And I'm going to put a tiny bit of chili oil on here.
Pinged up cooking.
Are we in Tokyo? Yeah, but like there's nothing that sexy looking. Fucking dried shiitakes. Or like, I had a bunch of green here, I feel like.
It's not always going to be 6.
Also, this is a fucking pre-bought vegetable broth because I didn't feel like making my own.